He was cut in half at the end of The Phantom Menace all the way back in 1999, and most people kind of just thought that was it, and yet here we are, it's 2026, and Darth Maul has his own show. Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord has just completed the run of its first season on Disney Plus on May the 4th, no less, and we really, really need to talk about it. First half of this video is going to be completely non-spoiler and a review of the season overall. The second half of the video, we're going to really dive into episodes 9 and 10 with full spoilers, because boy, oh boy, do we absolutely need to talk about it. So there will be a big spoiler warning when we get there, so don't worry, and let's get into it. So, what is the premise of Maul Shadow Lord? Well, basically, the show's set a few years after Revenge of the Sith. Maul's criminal empire has kind of collapsed. He's rebuilding, so to speak, and he's doing it on a planet called Janix. He's got some more Zabraks with him. He's got some Mandalorians with him. This planet's not under Imperial control just yet, and he runs into a Jedi Padawan named Devin, who is hiding out on the planet with her master Daki, and they're obviously hiding after Order 66. And the inciting incident and premise of the show is, can Maul steer this young Padawan away from the light side of the Force towards the dark side and have the apprentice that he's always wanted? It's a tight premise, and one of the things I really appreciated about it is that the show honors that with serialized storytelling. This is a big departure from your typical Star Wars animation show. The Clone Wars was famous for doing anthology arcs where something would happen for 3 episodes, then we'd go somewhere else entirely for another 3, then we'd come back. Rebels kind of did the same thing. Rebels was a little more serialized, but not really. And then the same thing with the Bad Batch. A lot of the complaints that some people would have about those shows was that there was too much filler. That was the thing that everybody went on about. This is not that. It's all killer, no filler. It's only 10 episodes that are only 30 minutes each, and there really is no fat. I would say, if anything, the closest that this is to Andor as compared to anything else that Star Wars animation has done, because it really is one linear story. The plot threads carry over from episode to episode. The relationships with the characters get deeper, the stakes get higher, and everything kind of crescendos all the way through till the end. There might have been a few episodes where I thought it dragged a tiny bit in the middle, but to be completely honest with you, it didn't matter to me because the highs were so high that it really landed for me. And a lot of the reason for that is our good guy Sam Witwer. He's been voicing Maul since Maul came back in, I think it was season 5 of the Clone Wars. He even voiced Maul in the quick cameo appearance at the end of Solo: A Star Wars Story back in 2018. And this show gives him more to work with than he's ever had before. But what's really interesting is the way that Witwer's voice performance shows the inside of Darth Maul, his interior, and there's just so many layers to this guy. He's cold and calculating. He's hurt. He's physically and emotionally, right? He's obviously only got half a body at this point. His legs are all metal. He's carrying trauma from the loss of being a Sith apprentice and then no more, losing his brother, losing his mother, losing other members of his family, and all of it ties back to Palpatine, to Darth Sidious, and he wants his revenge, and it's all in his eyes, right? And a lot of that has to do with the performance of Sam Witwer. They even drew motion capture dots on his face when they were doing the voice recordings here, so that way they could do some of the character models based off of his performance, because he really puts his all into it, and the show is so much better for it. So, and then speaking of the, segueing into the animation there, this is, in my opinion, easily the best that any Star Wars animated show has looked, and it should be. It's the most recent. They have the most technology. They should be able to do that. This one, though, it doesn't just change up the style of Star Wars animation. It almost kind of completely breaks the mold. The character movements, and especially in the close-ups on faces, it feels like they're able to do expression in a way that they really haven't before, which is kind of incredible. The lightsaber duels may not be for everyone. They're a little bit on the George Lucas faster, more intense scale of things, and especially if you're watching it on a really big display, it might just be a little bit overwhelming. But you feel everything. There's a real weight to the lightsaber fights. The highlights are there. It's not. They don't really tone down the brightness of the lightsabers, kind of like they did in Rebels for a good amount of the duels there. But honestly, the biggest breakthrough here is the backgrounds when you're watching the show. So instead of doing a typical CG rendered background that more lines up with the other animated shows, they went in favor of these physically painted oil backdrops, and they're like canvas paintings, and it's almost like they harken back to some of the Ralph McQuarrie concept art from all the way back in the original trilogy of Star Wars. They're dreamlike, they're impressionistic. There was one, obviously a lot of the cityscapes on Janix looked amazing, but there was one that was so simple and it struck me so well. In one of the episodes towards the end, there's a ship that's flying through hyperspace and they're going through at light speed. And typically light speed looks so fluid and so smooth, and all kind of like one big straight line. With this, they went with that oil painting canvas, and it was just, it was jaw dropping. I thought it was fantastic. And it really, it feels like they almost went backwards to go forwards with some of the technology, which was really cool. And it felt like a very, very cinematic show. So overall, really excited for this whole first season. Can't wait for season 2, which has already been announced. And it's great to look at. It's got great performances. The story's good. I think it's absolutely worth anyone's time. So now it is time. I'm waving my hands. I'm putting the spoiler card somewhere here in the video. We are going to talk about spoilers now, and mostly for the last 2 episodes of the show. So if you haven't finished the season, please like and subscribe, and then get out of here, go watch it, and then come back to this timestamp and check out the rest of the video. For everyone else who's still here, oh boy, we got to talk about Darth Vader. So the critics were kept away from these final 2 episodes. They were sent episodes 1 through 8, 9 and 10. They had to watch with the rest of us. Episode 10, in all the press releases, was just named finale. Obviously, that was just a placeholder because episode 10 was entitled The Dark Lord. And when Vader steps out of the shadows at the end of the 9th episode and the music plays, it is real good, and it's nothing that was overly surprising. We all kind of had a feeling that this was where it was going, but it was done really well. And the show handles Vader in a way that I thought was really interesting. He's very stiff. He's very deliberate. He moves more like the Vader of the original trilogy, not so much like the flippy style that Anakin had towards the end of Revenge of the Sith before he got high grounded on Mustafar. He's also he's Michael Myers in this. He's unstoppable. He's huge. Nobody knows what to do about the guy. I thought it was really cool. But what's also really cool about him is that no one really knows who he is. The 3 that are fighting, so Devin, Daki, and Maul, are you're not an Inquisitor. We fought some Inquisitors earlier. What's going on here, right? And Maul figures it out over time, and that's interesting. But what's really cool there is that Vader knows who he is the whole time, and Vader's the guy who killed the guy that was gonna be Anakin's master. So there's a little bit of malice and vitriol there, and the show doesn't expo dump that and bring it on you in a way that doesn't make sense, but it's, you feel it in the way that Vader's hunting these dudes down. Really cool. Maul already knew from season 7 of Clone Wars. He had the vision. He tried to explain it to Ahsoka about how Sidious was going to turn Anakin, so he kind of puts the pieces together, and he realizes not only is this a Sith Lord, it's also Anakin Skywalker. The show trusts you, though, to catch on to that. There is no dialogue or anything that explains that. And then, we get these insane lightsaber fights with all of these folks. But at the end of that, Maul, in his most desperate, he's injured, can't go on too much longer. He knows exactly what he's doing. He force pushes Daki right into Vader, and he bails. Vader kills Daki, obviously, because you're going up against the most powerful dude in the universe, right? Except for the Emperor. But by doing that, he takes Daki off the board, and it frees up Devon to become his new apprentice. He knows that when Vader does this to him, that she's gonna get rageful. She's gonna stop pulling her punches, and she's gonna join up with him. And all of that is delivered through action and not dialogue. There is not a single word that Darth Vader says, and it's really cool. I kept waiting. I was like, how are they going to do this? I know they got the AI stuff that they're doing for James Earl Jones's voice or whatever, but they opted to go the silent route, which I thought was even cooler. So eventually, the surviving folks get away. They get picked up by Dryden Voss, which is another cool solo reference. Dryden Voss is the guy who's in charge of Crimson Dawn. This kind of sets up, I guess, the arc for season 2 here. Dryden did Maul a favor by getting him off of Janix. So Maul is going to have to do Dryden a favor by taking out another syndicate leader so he can rise, except we all know how that ends up if you've seen Solo. But it sets us up for Devon with her master gone, her faith in the Jedi shaken, and she's positioned to be Maul's new apprentice. She says, okay, let's do this, train me. And then we end on a really cold close-up of Maul's eyes. The big question that we get to here obviously is going to be, are we setting up Devon to become Darth Talon? For those who don't know, George Lucas had plans for a sequel trilogy a little bit before Disney bought Star Wars, and the big bad there was going to be Darth Talon, who was Darth Maul's Twi'lek apprentice in the dark side. So kind of seems like an easy layup, but we will definitely see where that go. But either way, the Vader appearance here and these final 2 episodes, it's very difficult to do because, much like a Luke Skywalker, when you bring in a Darth Vader, he sucks all the air out of there, and everything is about him, right? But I felt like this was done very well. There was restraint there, and it kind of felt inevitable. If you would have thought that Palpatine's old apprentice wouldn't run into Palpatine's new apprentice at some point when he's down hunting Force users, it's kind of the way things were going to go. And the great thing about it is that it wasn't just a fight for a fight's sake. The fallout of that big fight reshapes every single character, progresses their story, and sets them up for season 2, which I think is a really great way to structure the final 2 episodes of the season. I thought it really stuck the landing, and I cannot wait for season 2, which is already confirmed. So that's going to do it for this video. Would love to hear from you. Drop us a comment below and let us know what you thought of Maul Shadow Lord overall, as well as what you thought about these final 2 episodes and that special cameo that we got. May the Force be with you. May the 4th be with you. Like and subscribe. Check out some of our other videos. And until next time, see you in the next one.